Hey guys, welcome to another Huddle episode. I'm Zach Randall, the VP of Sales here at ES Solar, and I've got Doug here. And Doug is, he works for one of our partners, SunGage. He's the head of channel sales at SunGage Financial. And SunGage is one of our favorite lending partners. So a lot of our customers use your guys' services to finance their solar and batteries and roofs and everything else. And so we're excited to have you here. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
So just to start off with, maybe give us a little bit of background on where you're from and kind of how you ended up at SunGage and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so about 15 years ago, I worked for a solar installer in Massachusetts, and someone knocked at our door, and her name was Sarah Ross, and she had this idea about a solar finance company. And in her experience, way back, what feels like forever ago, she was approached with an opportunity to pay cash or to lease the system. And she felt like there was a big gap in the middle there that wasn't being filled. And she went out and talked to a couple solar installers and took her daughter's college fund and lent that to a few homeowners to pilot it. After some success, she came and knocked on our door and talked about this product that she wanted to roll out. And fast forward to today, here, SunGage has been around for 14 years, and we're the first asset-backed solar loan in the solar space.
Awesome. Because I've been in the solar industry for a long time, and some people watching may not know this because in Utah, leasing isn't like as big of a thing as it is maybe on the East Coast in Massachusetts or on the West Coast in California. But yeah, that when I first started in the industry, that was most of the solar industry, right? Was people didn't own their panels. They would lease them, mostly because it was easy to get solar and just lease it, not to come out of pocket with a lot of money, right?
Yep. Yeah, it was kind of interesting. We've watched, kind of the financing or how homeowners get solar. It's been very cyclical. It's up and down. We've seen leasing be very, very popular, lose popularity, gain popularity. At the end of the day, what we've generally found is ownership provides a lot more flexibility for consumers. And your power situation today may change over a 25-year period. So owning it, we've generally found for homeowners that want that flexibility, it's a great path for them to get clean energy and save some money.
We agree 100%. We love ownership here, and I think it's more of a Utah culture thing. We don't like to lease anything.
Yeah.
But maybe speak to like the specific differences. So if a homeowner's looking at solar, what would be the advantages to owning versus leasing, in your guys' opinion?
I think the first thing is there's a lot of subsidies that are available to owning the system. And when you own it yourself, you get all the federal tax credits that you're eligible for, as well as a bunch of different places around the country have local subsidies as well. Those are financially motivating pieces. For me, it's more control. Again, but I look at myself, my wife and I have never owned an electric vehicle. The next car we're looking at will be an electric vehicle, and we're going to need to expand our solar system. So when you own it, you have that flexibility to add a battery, to add more panels, to kind of do what you need to do to meet the growing demand of electricity in your home. Yeah. And it allows you to also kind of take control of a upfront fixed cost that you get to take advantage of over a long period of time.
For sure, and that's what I'd say has changed the most, right? Is now with partners like SunGage, and we'll get into the details, but owning's never been easier. I feel like you can take the advantage of the lease was always, hey, it's easy. We don't have to put a bunch of money down or whatever. We have that same advantage now with partners like SunGage, where it's zero down, for the homeowners. So it's really easy to make the switch. And one thing that people don't ever talk about with leases is they usually have escalators in them. So their payments actually go up every year.
Yep.
And so homeowners don't like that. They like the ability, especially here in Utah and Idaho and even in California, the markets that we're in, they like the ability to be able to own it and pay it off, right?
I think a big advantage is knowing what your cost for that solar equipment is going to cost you for the entire time to the penny.
Right.
Every year that with a lease, the system goes up, the monthly payment goes up, and that escalator, today maybe the monthly payment looks really appealing. A few years into the future, that starts to change as that payment increases.
Right.
So financing gives you that pretty stable payment across the entire term.
Yep, couldn't agree more. Yep. So I always tell homeowners that the most expensive way to go solar is to lease.
Yep.
They don't realize that because maybe the payment up front looks really good. Mm-hmm. But ownership over time is going to save them a lot of money for sure.
Yeah.
And so backing up a little bit, maybe just give us a little bit of, you say I guess you're from Massachusetts. Is that where SunGage is from? Maybe tell us a little bit about the company itself.
Yeah, so SunGage was founded in Boston. So we have an office in the downtown Boston area. We have an office in Oakland, California, and then we have a team out in Hawaii as well. What's great about that, particularly from a homeowner and for our installer partners, is we cover a very wide office hour type scenario. So for us, it's really important that our partners can reach us and communicate with us and ask questions. We can kind of be on their schedule, but also homeowners can get a hold of us pretty quickly. Sure. It's nothing frustrates me more in life than having to call somewhere and go through a phone tree to get to somebody that I can talk to. Yeah. And for us, we answer quickly, and we're open for the times that folks need us.
Sure. I'm just speaking to that. I mean, our experience with SunGage has been amazing. We deal with a lot of different lenders over the years. If it were up to ES Solar, every single customer would go through SunGage, just because our experience getting a hold of people. We have a guy named Nikita. You probably know Nikita. But
love him.
We work with Nikita and Don, and if we ever have a problem with a loan application or anything, it's so easy to get a hold of someone and get the service that we need. So we really enjoy it. So diving in a little bit about some of the unique features, because SunGage, you say you had a solar cells background, and a lot of you did before you came over. Maybe that's why SunGage is built the way it is, because I feel like you guys understand what the needs of the customers are more than most other lenders. So maybe tell us a little bit about that. What makes SunGage unique compared to other competitors that are in the loan space?
I think it starts foundationally in a happy customer is great for all of us, right? So when a homeowner is happy with their product and ES does a great job installing it, they're referring their friends and family to you, and we serve a part in that process of making sure we provide a good experience for the homeowner. That shows up in a couple ways. One, user experience needs to be easy, so your sales reps can get approvals and help the homeowner get to a final monthly payment and approval process. But they also need support along the way. And I think for us, we have a lot of solar experience. I forget the exact number. I think it was 250 years or something like that of solar experience inside of SunGage. And that really helps us understand why homeowners are looking forward to this product and what they like about their system and what features and types of service levels they need, but also what our partners need, because we need to support you, we need to support our homeowners along the way. But basically built two loan structures that allow different folks to have different opportunities to take advantage of subsidies. So kind of a standard loan is more of like an 18-month kind of introductory period. You get your tax credits and you apply those to the loan and keep a long-term low monthly payment. We kind of go a step further, and any place that there's a local subsidy that's assigned to the homeowner, we can add that into the deferred portion of our loan. And to just kind of give you like what that means to the homeowner is ultimately a lower monthly payment up front. And most folks are trying to save as much money as they can, so we structure our loan to make sure that they're able to do that.
Yeah. And that's speaking to that. I mean, as you know, ES Solar is really unique in the industry. So we were the very first solar company to go in on this idea of virtual power plants, which is essentially solar plus batteries, and the utility, specifically Rocky Mountain Power, who's our main utility in Utah and Idaho. They were the first utility to come out with these rebate incentives for customers to add certain batteries on these virtual power plants, right? And so one really cool thing with SunGage, speaking to what Doug's saying, is we now can take not only the tax incentive that the customer gets for adding a battery to their home, but also the rebate, and drastically lower the payment. And you guys are the only loan company that we know of that allows us to do that. And so we love working with you for that reason.
No, we love it. It's the virtual power plant world is definitely growing. I saw this time last year, I think it was 22 states have some version of a virtual power plant working its way through legislation. Yep. It's great to see you guys paving the way. It's a lot of work goes to the innovators and the industry, but it's paid off. I mean, you guys have had a lot of success with it, and battery attachment rates have been really, really growing across the country. And what's interesting is as folks are learning more, our installer partners are learning more about battery attachment, they're kind of working through the growing pains and the learning pains of going through that, and you guys are all the way on the other side of it and doing that at a very high level. So it's great to see.
It's the solar industry, I feel like, it's in the middle of a revolution. And I always tell everyone, it's not the beginning of the industry, it's not the end, it's the beginning, right? We're just getting started, because what's happening, not just here in Utah, but all across the country, especially now in California with NEM 3.0.
Yeah, very different.
There's a lot of solar companies, unfortunately, struggling. They haven't figured out batteries. They're going out of business. When I first started 10 years ago doing solar in Utah, there was hundreds of solar companies. Now there's maybe 5. Mm-hmm. And that for homeowners means, there's 80, 90,000 solar customers in Utah, and most of them don't have their contractor anymore. We call them orphaned accounts, right? So one thing that's really unique that we've done the last couple of years is we've approached these customers. A lot of them don't have monitoring for their solar anymore. They don't have anyone to call if their system's not working. They want a battery, but they don't know what to do. And sometimes they even need a new roof. So now, as a roofing company, because we just bought a roofing company, as a solar contractor, as a battery specialist, we come in and maybe speak a little bit to what SunGage offers us now, because you were one of the very first lenders to jump on board with this idea of not just solar lending, but most of our sales now are solar customers that just want to attach a battery or maybe a few extra panels and a battery. So maybe talk about the new solar or battery only loan that you guys offer for us.
Yeah, so one of the first things that I'll say pushed, I wouldn't say I complained, but I pushed for, is adding batteries and roofing to our solar loans. Mm-hmm. I think it's important as a growth opportunity for all of our partners to go through, but 2, homeowners want this. And being able to take control of and have resiliency in your home for power outages, and some places take advantage of the economics that come with having a battery on your home, is very important. So, we've been working on a program with you guys here for a battery only program, which has gone really well. And adding roofs and batteries to those projects is just a very good kind of a addition to a regular solar project, solar only project.
Sure.
And we're finding homeowners more and more, they love the savings of solar, and battery costs historically have been very, very high, and they've finally come down to a place where they pencil out, and it makes a lot of sense, and they've got a long warranty, and they're very reliable, and it's a great time to see the industry really make that leap to batteries.
Especially in markets like California, Utah, and Idaho, where the utility says, hey, let's help make this more affordable, and we'll throw you an incentive, like a rebate or some sort of enrollment incentive to enroll your battery into a virtual power plant, like we have in our markets. And so it makes it a lot nicer.
I live in Connecticut now, and Connecticut just came out with the VPP program.
Cool.
And it's interesting to see all my neighbors slowly starting to look at batteries and add those to their homes. Because the utilities, they benefit from it by having, microgrid opportunities around, but homeowners also get that resiliency and backup as well, which is great.
Win-win. Yeah. We've loved it, and like I say, it's spreading across the country fast. So
Absolutely.
We're excited about that. So let's maybe dive into a couple things that make SunGage unique as far as how you structure the loan.
Yeah.
So one thing that maybe homeowners don't understand with financing is lenders like SunGage, they give you the opportunity to not, if we're financing, let's say, a $30,000 solar project, maybe explain how you guys calculate the original payment and maybe the time period they get to get those incentives and how it all works, just so a homeowner can understand, why their payment maybe is lower from the beginning if they go with SunGage.
Yeah, so our loan is really into 2 main buckets. One is what we call like your normal principal and interest bucket, which is what most loans, kind of how they operate. We have a side section called the deferred payment portion. That portion is where we slide all of the incentives, the federal incentives, the local and state incentives, things like that. And those are deferred out for up to 18 months.
Okay.
What that does is it gives the homeowner time to get all those subsidies and apply those towards their solar cost to get a low fixed monthly payment for a period of time. Now, the reality is not everyone can get their tax credit all in 1 year. And for us, it's very important that the homeowner has the ability to kind of adapt to the reality of what they were able to achieve on their tax credit. So we do unlimited reamortizations, which essentially gives the homeowner the opportunity to say, hey, on a $30,000 project, I thought I was going to get roughly $10,000 in my tax credit. This year I got $6,000. and next year I'm going to get the $4,000, because you don't lose that $4,000; it just slides to the next year. And we can take that $4,000 a year from now and apply that back towards the loan. The goal is to make sure that we as a lender are doing right by our consumers, and the loan structure itself really helps us to get there. We've found that happy customers are making their monthly payments, which from a lender's perspective is super important. But also we want to make sure that homeowners are happy throughout the whole process, so that you guys are the ones introducing us in a lot of cases, and we certainly owe it to our partnership to treat our mutual customers and provide them a product that meets their needs. So we try to make it as flexible as possible.
And that's why we love SunGage, because we feel the same way. Our goal is always 100% customer satisfaction. As you know, the challenging thing with tax credits that you get for going solar or for adding a battery to your home is, we as a salesperson in the customer's home, we don't know their tax situation. And those tax credits, some homeowners are able to get all of them in the first year, and some of them, depending on the size of the project especially, may need 2, 3, 4 years. And so we know that by putting them in with a SunGage loan, that they're going to be, it's not going to hurt them at all, because if they don't get all their tax credits within that 18-month period, we love that you guys have no penalty at all. The payment may go up because the loan amount adjusts, but then if they get the rest of it the next year, they just call SunGage and they can re-am it and lower their payment right back down to where it was. So
there's not a lot of gotchas in our loan, right? The idea is to make sure that at the end of the day, the consumer has something that they feel good about, and we're not trying to make it harder.
We love that. One other objection is, that we get a lot in solar is, most people we sell these days, it's not like the old days when me and you first started, but most people we sell, they're not in their forever home. Right? So they're planning on, maybe living in their home for 3, 4 more years and then selling their home. And their question that they always have for us is, well, hey, how easy is it to, what do we do? What are our options, I guess, when we sell the home? How easy is this? Is it transferable, or do we get some value in the home and just sell it with a home? So maybe speak to that, because you probably see that a lot more than we do when homeowners have a SunGage loan and they're selling. So what's their options there?
Yeah, so really there's 2 main options the homeowner has, and they can do whatever makes the most sense for them. It's been proven over and over again that adding solar to your home, particularly when you own it, adds quite a bit of value to the home. So we have a pretty large portion of our homeowners that they sell their house for more money, and they use those proceeds to pay the loan off, and there's no prepayment penalty, so they can kind of walk away and pay that off when they make that transaction. Other folks want to transfer that principal to the new homeowner. So there's a really simple process. The biggest thing I will stress is letting us know ahead of time. It doesn't take us very long to work up the transferability process. What we've generally found is a lot of times it's as they get to closing, no one did anything, and we've got 24 hours to scramble to try to get it together. But the process is fairly simple, and you can just transfer that principal to the new homeowner.
Awesome. And it makes it so much easier. I can speak from experience, but so much easier for a homeowner that most of our customers aren't going to live in their homes forever, and we understand that. And that's one thing that's changed with companies like SunGage, that just say, hey, we're going to make it as easy and as painless as possible when you go to sell your home. The other thing maybe you could speak to is, we get a lot of questions on, interest rates are high right now. So people that are maybe building a house, they know, they're hoping that mortgage rates come back down here in a few years, and they're probably going to want to refinance. Well, with SunGage, obviously you guys secure the loan, right? And so they're questioning, like, well, is there a lien on my home? What if what if the interest rates come down and I want to lower my mortgage payment? What do I do? And then how does your process work with that?
Yeah, so we put a UCC filing on the equipment itself. And what that does is when the homeowner sells or does a refinancing opportunity, it basically just alerts us that, hey, there's a transaction going on that home. And in one of 2 things generally happens. We will lift that UCC filing, the homeowner will refinance, and then once that's done, we put it back on. So we certainly don't get in the way of the refinance, but we are a step in that process just so that we're aware. Also, what happens often is folks just pay it off. So it also gives us an opportunity to let them know, hey, it's probably been 3 or 4 years since you signed up for this loan. I don't know about you, but I don't remember everything from things that I've signed up for. So it's good for us to give them a reminder of, hey, here are your options. What would you like to do? And it's a fairly simple process. Again, it's just a matter of folks letting us know ahead of time that we can lift that UCC filing and put it back on for them.
Yeah, maybe even if the rates are low enough with mortgages, maybe they could even look at just rolling it into the refinance and just paying it off that way. So
yeah, interest rates have been a fun topic over the last few years.
Have been,
so it's good to see them slowly starting to trend down in a positive direction.
That is good news.
Yeah.
All right, Doug, so what are a couple tips you could give customers maybe looking at going solar? Like where should their credit be, or are there anything that they should do in advance before they go solar?
Yeah, so for us, our credit threshold is we require 640 FICO or higher. So from our perspective, there's not a ton a homeowner needs to do. Our process in loan is pretty simple. My recommendation would really be to do a lot of research on the company that's going to install it. We've seen a lot of change over the last, particularly 2 or 3 years, and I think the company that you're signing up with is important when going with a solar project. You want to make sure they're going to be there to service your equipment down the road. You want to make sure that they have a brand and a reputation that you are confident that they'll be there to help you. But also, companies that have been around a while, and ES is a great example of this, you're going to continue to evolve more products and services to add on to that system, which, solar is not a one and only purchase, just like most things in our home.
Right.
Our needs are going to change. There's little add-ons that you're going to want to add as homes get smarter and more efficient. For me, when I'm talking to all my friends and neighbors when they're looking for solar contractors, is to really take a look at who you're working with.
Good advice.
Yeah,
we say the same thing. I mean, there's a reason why I work at ES, right?
Yep.
When you're going solar, it's a big purchase, and more importantly, it's a long-term purchase. So you're wanting this thing to work for 25 years, and you want to make sure you're not just going for the cheapest.
Yes.
We don't want to be the cheapest because we want to be the one that's in business for the long haul. We want to take care of customers, and there's some cheap ones out there, but those are usually the ones that are out of business next year, and then the customer's trying to find someone to come service the job. So good advice.
And for us, it's funny, as SunGage, I think what I've generally seen in the industry is, particularly with finance companies, is they want to partner with kind of everyone that's out there, because their goal is to originate as many loans as possible. For us, the quality of the loan is super important, and that starts with companies that legitimately care about their customer. From a kind of a foundational piece of SunGage is that we care about our partnership is like a big foundational piece of who we are. That's the obvious ones like ES Solar and our installer partners. But the homeowner's a partner, and in a lot of ways we're going to be a partner with them for 20, 25 years, right, over that time. So we want to make sure that the installers that we partner with care about the customer, because ultimately they need to get what they paid for. And it's good that we don't have to ever worry about that with ES.
We feel the same way. So we love that SunGage does, for instance, a welcome call, right? And you guys educate customers, because we don't want to mislead a customer. It's not worth it to us. We're in the business for the long haul. We all live in the communities where we work. So we see our customers all the time. We want to make sure that we tell them how tax credits work to the best of our ability. And we love that SunGage does a little welcome call and just educates the customer like, hey, you may not get your whole tax incentive next year when you do your taxes, but that's okay. It might take you a little bit longer, but that's why we have the processes that we have. So we appreciate that about you guys as well. So
yeah, and it's funny, we every April we get a ton of calls from homeowners, and they're trying to figure out what they're going to do with their tax credit and how that's going to work for them. And there's a lot going on in a solar purchase, right? You're talking about the design, the equipment, the costs, the loan terms, all those things. So we record all of our welcome calls, and it's great for homeowners because there's times that maybe they forget what we talked about, and we're able to share like, oh, here's the call where we talked about all these different nuances. And I think the best part is, even in a scenario where the homeowner doesn't get their full tax credit, knowing they have that flexibility of a REAM really makes everyone feel much better about, this will change and get better next year.
Yeah, there's no harm, no foul. If the payment goes up a little bit, it's okay. You just get it right back down when you get the rest of your incentive, right?
And you're still saving money usually.
Yep. Well, we sure appreciate you coming on. I think that's about all the questions that I've had. But anything, in parting, any last words or anything you'd like to tell these customers that are maybe considering going solar and debating whether they should lease it or go through SunGage and take out a loan with you guys?
I think that the biggest thing I would recommend to homeowners is really think through not just what your energy picture looks like today, but what the future could hold for you. I've got a 10-year-old daughter, and I've never watched my electric bill creep higher and higher as she gets older and older. So your electricity picture is going to change over time. So when you're purchasing solar, I like to always think of the future, but also where you're at today. And if you think your electric costs are going to be pretty stable and pretty reliable, then maybe you look at a lease, maybe you look at a purchase. If you're like most of us, where your cost and electricity usage is going to be kind of all over the place, ownership tends to be a slightly better option for folks there. But do your research, figure out what's best for you, and if you need a loan, we're here to help.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks for coming on, and thanks for joining us for the latest episode of A Huddle. Bye.